Hello, writer. We're gonna take a look at your emphasis posting, offer a bit of feedback and observation here. So we did the overview video that kind of covers the objectives of the project itself. So what I like to do here is sort of get into some of the compositions, some of the specific imagery, offer some feedback there. And so as I'm looking at these, some of the observations that I have, or at least the first observation that I have, is that these images are very much grounded in shape. We have a variety of different approaches to that, but in essence, we see a repetition of a number of shapes going on in your photography. So, I mean, everybody has a way about which they approach composition, just like everybody has a way they approach writing and even speech. Even walking, people have a way about the way they walk. Well, with composition and with photography even, we have a sort of tendency towards certain things. And so I don't know if this is going to continue with your photography here, but what I'm seeing is definitely a tendency towards shape all the way through, even outside of the shape prompt that you were offered. Even in the texture here, we can see this is all shapes that we're looking at. This is a shape. These become shapes. Really interesting how you've captured that being a high shutter speed. These being shapes, everything is molded into shapes. I would say the area that seemed to give you some of the more of the trouble here would be the ones that are a bit farther back, where you're not able to render the shapes, and so you're not quite as far away as others would have been, because you were still kind of trying to figure out how to incorporate the shapes, maybe not consciously, but you were, somehow something said, oh, I don't feel comfortable this far away from things, because you were still looking for some form to be able to grab onto, and that's all fine. Here's a beautiful form of repetition. Even here, you're repeating these shapes over and over again, very controlled, very sort of precise, even though what you're making an image of seems to be quite random. You've managed to organize it in a way that that creates this sort of pattern feel to it. So these are all very good qualities to what you're doing here. So how I see it, that I think we could have pushed a bit farther. I think this one is an interesting study. Perhaps if we got a little bit closer there, it would have pushed it a bit farther. I'm not sure we needed to see the entire circle. Perhaps if this circle was sort of just almost looked like a vignette, that might have pushed it into more of the abstraction there and given you the actual shape that you were probably looking at, which was all of this stuff, which is quite lovely right in here. This is so beautiful. All I want to see is this information all out here is really pretty much passive, so you don't really need it. So stepping in there would have done something for you. This one's a little bit of a mystery to me, because it does not seem to go along with your other images. It doesn't seem to be really shape-based or kind of connected to the other ones. I'm not sure if maybe you had some trouble choosing another as I see it, and you just kind of put this one in there, but it does seem a little bit out of place on compared to the others, which are so solid. Repetition in those shapes seems to be also one of the things that you are working with, that you seem very, very intuitively and naturally adding to your imagery. This project is in a lot of ways a pre-test, meaning we get to see exactly what people's skill level is, where you guys are. if I could say anything, it would be just the fine tuning of what you're doing, making sure that we can see things like this, which of course you can remove little elements like this in Photoshop, but why? When just a slight tilt on the camera would remove it altogether. Sometimes you can't get rid of it, but we're losing focus just a little bit here. This isn't quite in focus. I think your critical focus is somewhere in the air over here, because even this doesn't seem quite sharp focus. So we want to double check focus on those things. This seems pretty solid. I don't know where we could correct it, except for the point here, which I've made in several others. We're getting very close over here, and we're right on the corners here. If that angle had been brought out just a little bit so that it did not go to the corners but ended here and here, or if it was tilted down so it ended here and here, out of the corners, you would have had a much more sort of graceful and much more, I guess, inviting angle to be working with. That 45 degrees toward the corner of your compositions creates a tremendous amount of pull away from the composition. Those corners automatically are engaging because they change direction on the outside. So we don't really have to give them extra attention. So that I would offer in terms of changing. That I would offer changing there, or at least modifying as you go. So overall, I think you've done a beautiful job with these images. Clearly, the ones that seem to kind of trip you up a little bit were the environment ones, where you were really far away, couldn't quite get the shapes that we were looking for, although the images were just fine. They weren't quite as I guess well seen as the others that were getting a little bit closer on there. And then the as you see it, that second one just didn't seem to fit the other ones. I'm not sure what was going on with that one, but overall then you've got some beautiful imagery, and I look forward to seeing other photographs that you make. So I'll see you in the studio. Bye now.